Recording in progress. Okay, perfect. So I can see all of your beautiful faces. I'm going to put it on speaker gallery and pin myself. So there I am. Now I want to share my screen with you guys. So let me find that and we will dive in. We'll get started. All right, where's my share my screen? Where'd the little share my screen thing go? Oh, duh. It's in green right in front of my face. Okay. Perfect. Okay. All the things, right? All the technology. All right, here we go. Okay. Thank you guys for bearing with me. I'm just moving you around here. And there we go. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Mr. Screen. Okay, there we go. Okay, so sisters, can you see my screen? It says what you are made of. Do you guys see it?
Yes.
Amazing. Yep. Okay, and you can hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And can you see me or just the screen?
I can see you and the screen.
Okay, cool. Am I like off to the side?
Yep.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure I wasn't blocking you. Okay, well, thank you again for being here. We covered minerals in school several weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, and the name of the course was The Elements of Man. And the elements of man was just like it sounds. It's all the elements that make up man, all the elements that make up humans. And I was trying to think of a snazzy title for what to talk to you about tonight, talking about minerals, and what you're made of came to me. And I love it because it's got that twist of like all of the things we're made of, not just minerals, right? So if I were to ask you, actually, we'll get to that in a second. This quote I thought was really great, and it was a part of the mineral discussion that we had at school. It says, God formed man out of the dust of the ground and blew into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. And every time I go to school, I'm reminded of, how natural medicine started thousands of years ago. And back in biblical times, God knew that we needed these hints and these things way before modern medicine. So we talk about iridology, and that's the study of the iris and the eyes. And we can find these weaknesses in our bodies just simply by looking in the eyes. And I just think it's so amazing how God designed everything, and he knew, we would need all these clues along the way. So, when I don't know why this is, there we go. When I ask you the question, what's the first thing you think of when someone asks you, what are you made of? You guys can chime in here. You can put it in the chat or you can take yourself off mute. When I ask you the question, what's the first thing you think of when someone asks, what are you made of? Anybody?
You want a naturopathic answer, or do you want?
Hey, whatever. Like, I think like grit, courage, love. Like, what are you made of? Yes, Trisha, what's your answer?
And that's what I like immediately. So not the naturopathic answer, but like in terms of that, like grit. I'm tough. I'm, that those kinds of things, courage, and I'm feisty. Like, yeah, spirit. Like Amy said, spirit. Things like that. That's what I think of.
Yeah, me too. That's why I liked this title, because it's like, what are you made of? Spirit, water, grit, courage. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm looking at your answers. Okay, awesome. Anybody else want to chime in what you're made of? Okay, well. Oh,
personality traits.
Personality traits. Yeah.
That's what I think of. I think of those personality traits and also stardust.
And Stardust. Ooh, I like
Yes.
that one. Sisu,
Definitely.
what is I am a Finn, Katie? What does that mean? Soul.
So I'm Finnish. I'm 50% Finnish, and Sisu's kind of like you can't really explain it in the English language, they say, but it's basically like where grit and perseverance end, and it's like that second wind of like just your soul and your Sisu that like gets you through life's adversities. And so I've been really like learning more about that, and yeah, so that's what I'm made of.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Sisu. That's awesome.
You'll need to look it up. There's a ton of books on it. Yes, it's really, really cool.
How do
Okay.
you spell?
SISU.
Yeah.
Too cool. Actually, she put it in the chat too, Aim. Yeah, so interesting. I love it. I love it. Yeah, so that's what I thought of too, like what we're made of. Yes, we're made of minerals. Yes, we're made of water. Yes, we're made of all these things, but we're made of Sisu too, and courage and grit and all the things. So in terms of elemental wise what we're made of and the chemicals that make us up, this screen shows us, this is kind of the breakdown. We're 62% water, 16% protein, and then you can see like the top elements that we're made of. So 65% oxygen, right? We would be nothing, we would be dust without oxygen. And the other top ones are carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. Those are the big ones. And then you can see like in smaller amounts we're made up, the human body is made up of potassium, sulfur, sodium, chlorine, magnesium, and then some other things. So 6% minerals, 16% fat, and then 1% carbs. So I liked this slide because I think it's a really great breakdown. The things maybe we don't think of. I mean, you're not walking in the street and somebody says, "Hey, how are you? How have you been?" And you're like, "Well, my oxygen and my carbon have been a little low lately," right? We don't talk like that. Most of us don't. So I just wanted you guys to see this. I thought it was a cool snapshot. So on to the next slide. 99% of the body's mass is comprised of elements. It's comprised of these 6 elements: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. And then over on the side, I just kind of have some fun facts about what we're made of. Minerals are inorganic elements that occur in nature, not plants. Every cell on the planet depends on minerals for proper function and structure. If one mineral is out of balance in the body, all mineral levels are affected, right? We know that it's a whole being, right? And one thing can throw off another. Every organ in the body needs certain chemicals or minerals or elements to do its job. So this conversation we're having tonight is really important. Bulk or macro minerals are minerals needed in large amounts in the body. So in large amounts, we need calcium, we need magnesium, we need sodium, potassium, and phosphorus. And then alternately, the other side of that is trace or micro minerals, and minerals needed by the body in smaller amounts: boron, chromium, copper, germanium, iodine, iron, manganese, molybdenum, selenium, silicon, sulfur, vanadium, and zinc. Raise your hand if there's some of those on the list you've never heard of before. Yeah, okay, hands up. Right? I know. I had to look up what molybdenum was. It's in our body, we're made of it, but I had to look up what the heck it was. So kind of fun. I loved this saying, and this came from our mineral book from school. So spectrophotometric analysis, which is the color spectrum, if you look up what that means, spectrophotometric analysis has shown the same elements are present in the earth and the stars as are in the human body. So cool. That's why when we say we are made of stars, we are literally made of stars. We are matter evolved to its highest vibratory state on this planet. living, thinking, breathing matter. Susan, I feel like that's such a cool one for yoga, don't you think? Susan's a fellow yoga teacher in Cali. And I just feel like that's such a yogic thing, you know? Okay, perfect. All right, moving on. So our body's job on a cellular level is to take, I can't even see my slide. I'm sorry. Our body's job on a cellular level is to take in nutrients and eliminate waste. All disease originally begins with a chemical deficiency or toxic substance taken into the body. So I'm going to repeat that, and I want you to think about it for a second. All disease originally begins with a chemical deficiency or toxic substance taken into the body. Puts a different spin on being sick, doesn't it? Wholeness requires eating the whole food, tip to tail. We are supposed to be eating the whole pepper, seeds and all, stem, seeds, pepper. And it's also supposed to be organic. It's supposed to be from the earth, not sprayed with all the things that they spray in this world. So tip to tail, we're supposed to be eating the tail of the fish and the head of the fish because there's certain things in the different parts of the fish that our body needs, even the organs of the fish. In chronic diseases, tissues become so clogged that the salt mineral solution of the blood cannot enter to feed and nourish. So here's a fun fact. Tonics, soups, broths, and juices, like if you guys juice or make smoothies, provide the mineral salts in triturated form that can be assimilated directly into the bloodstream. So what does triturated form mean? Triturated form is broken down. So if you take a rock and you just start licking and trying to eat the rock, it's not going to go so well, right? Triturated form is that grinding down of the rock to get the actual elements out of the rock so that we can assimilate them. So same thing with these, the mention of tonics and soups and broths and juices, it puts it in a form where our body can assimilate the minerals. So how do we know if our body is deficient in minerals? Well, we could take a blood test. We could do a little finger prick. We could do a hair analysis. We could muscle test to see if we're deficient in minerals. We could also do a mineral quiz. And a mineral quiz is just going to kind of be like a baseline of these are the symptoms I'm experiencing, and that might mean I'm deficient in iodine or calcium or magnesium. So these are the 4 ways that I am familiar with for mineral deficiency analysis to see. Does anyone else on here know of any other ways that we could tell if our body is deficient in minerals in your experience? You can chime in, take yourself off mute or come in.
I do, but I don't know. You said you're going to talk about iodine later.
Yeah. But tell us.
So if you're iodine deficient, more than likely you're going to have hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism.
Yep.
Because thyroid is the first gland to intake iodine. And if the thyroid gland is not able to uptake iodine properly, then you're going to develop, like myself, hypothyroidism.
Right.
So, and I could get into way more about how that happens, but I won't. But yes, generally that's how that happens.
So are you saying that, oh shoot, there's people telling me they couldn't get on the Zoom. Are you saying that a good way to tell if you're deficient in minerals would be to have your thyroid tested? Trisha, is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. So like if you have, yes, because you're going to be at least deficient in a couple of things, potentially,
Okay.
if you have a thyroid disorder.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's a kind of like a roundabout way. You get your thyroid tested, you find out that you'll have hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism. That would mean you need iodine, so you're deficient in iodine. Good point. Yeah, I get that. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, anybody else want to chime in? Any other ways that you would be able to tell if you're deficient? Yeah, Zainab.
So I guess this is just for us naturopaths, or at least the ones that have that booklet. So I was thinking with just the descriptions of the deficiencies, because sometimes they're very descriptive.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as we were reading through, you're able to like connect the dots, like, okay, well, maybe I am deficient in this because I have all of these symptoms
right?
of deficiency. So I
Yeah,
was thinking that way, you know.
based on symptoms. Yeah,
That's the only other, yeah, that's the only other way I could.
for sure. For sure.
Mhm.
Or I mean, for people that are not a naturopath, you Google like dizziness, uh, anemia, bruise easily, right? You Google those
Mhm.
things and it's like, oh, you might be deficient in this. So
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
kind of a guess based on symptoms. Yeah. 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 Good point.
Well, and typically too, like if you're off from one mineral, they're all like, there's quite a few of them that are tied close together. So if one is offset, more than likely you're offset in quite a few others. And
Right.
because some of the symptoms overlap.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that goes back to a slide we just talked about where everything's connected, right? It's all connected. So if you are showing signs of a calcium deficiency, more than likely your magnesium could be off or sodium or something like that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Good point. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for making this interactive. Okay, I love this slide. I found this and I wanted to pop it up. Okay, good. Rach, you're back. I had a couple people text me too that they weren't able to get on the Zoom. If it's okay with you guys, I'm gonna just pause for 1 second and I'm gonna send them this link really quick. So just 1 second. You know how technology goes sometimes, right?
Mhm. My last Zoom meeting was awful because of the technology, but we
Was
got
it
it working.
was it glitching?
Yeah, and I couldn't get my screen to share.
Oh
So we
no.
rescheduled it, but we rescheduled it and we had, you know, it worked out.
Okay, good. Oh, girl, I've had so many of those things happen. Okay. So, I love this slide. Now, I want to remind you guys all that this is coming your way. So everything we talk about, will be in a Google Drive for you, so you can go back and reference it. So, signs of nutrition deficiencies, and this is more vast than just minerals, but eyes, breaking it down one thing at a time. So, dark circles or bags under the eyes could be allergy. It could be food intolerance. It could be dehydration, poor night vision, vitamin A. Let me find some supplement ones. So pale lower eyelids, iron. Have you guys ever been to the doctor and they go like this? Like they pull your eyes and they look under your eyelids? I went to the doctor one time and I was bleeding really heavy, like really heavy menstrual period. And when I went to the doctor, he did that. He pulled my eyes out and he was looking at the whites, but he didn't tell me why. And I was like, well, there must be something going on with my eyes. And because I was bleeding so heavily that month with my period, he was looking for that pale lower eyelid as a sign of low iron. So I learned that lesson then, but I like that it's on this list. For those of you that just joined us, welcome. I am so sorry that you didn't have the link, but you're with us now, so that's all that matters. And you haven't missed too much. We just got started, so thank you for being here. Deficiencies in teeth and gums. You can see there maybe what bleeding gums or crowded teeth might be a deficiency in. Hair loss. This is a big one, right? Especially perimenopause or menopausal women. Hair loss with thyroid too, if you have thyroid issues. We might be deficient in B2, B5, biotin, D, and zinc. So zinc, there's your mineral. Dry hair could be deficiency in iodine or selenium. Dandruff could be deficiency in selenium. And then it talks about nails. If you've got issues with your nails, there are some deficiencies for you. I won't go through all of these because you guys are going to get this slide. Muscles and joints. If you have muscle cramping, you could be deficient in magnesium. And we're actually going to talk about magnesium in a little bit. Twitching, magnesium, calcium, numbness, clicking joints. Now, manganese is a mineral that I didn't know a lot about until I started naturopath school. And manganese is going to be a supplement we're going to want to talk more about because manganese even though it's a trace mineral, it can cause mood issues. It can cause like anger, outbursts, and then it also says here clicking joints. So that's a good one for you to star and circle back to. If we don't have time today, I can always answer your questions about manganese. And then I'll skip over mouth. Skin I see is on here. Looks like zinc is mentioned on there. And then emotional and mental. There's B vitamins. Do you guys see all those B vitamins listed with emotional and mental? I think we better all run out and stock up on B vitamins right now, right? All right, I'm going to go to the chat really quick for some questions. Quite a few of these, right? Me too, Katie. Me too. We probably all have quite a few of these. So we're not going to freak out because looking at this list, you are in the right place. We're going to talk about how to get you on track, okay? All right, so the 10 most common nutrient deficiencies. Iodine, that's like the word of the day, right? Magnesium, vitamin E, calcium, selenium, zinc, vitamin K2, B12, iron, and D. So again, there's some vitamins listed on here, and these are the top 10 common nutrient deficiencies. So tonight, we're going to start with iron. Now, if we were going to be together for the next 16 hours, we could go through all of the minerals, right? This Bible of minerals. But we don't have 16 hours. We only have 1 hour. So I had to pick and choose. So I picked like 4 minerals for us to discuss tonight. So at the end of our discussion, you guys can ask questions about minerals that I didn't cover, and we can try and go over those. Deal? Okay, so iron, this is the first one. And I got to move myself out of the way here. Iron's nickname is the frisky horse, which I think is so fun. And iron's periodic table on the periodic table is Fe. Inorganic iron is valuable in industry, but useless, even disastrous to the human body. And I wanted to mention that because, again, inorganic iron would be like if you went and grabbed an iron rod and you just started licking it or trying to crunch on it. That's not going to do any good to your body, right? We need bioavailable iron in order to reap the benefits. Inorganic iron must be partly excreted by the kidneys, which has a damaging effect on them and can also have a corrosive effect on the bowels. So what this is alluding to is if we're taking iron supplements or food sources or some kind of ingesting something that has inorganic iron in it, it's not going to do our body good. It's not going to be healthy for our body. So we want to make sure that the forms of iron that we're taking in are that organic iron. Iron is responsible for attracting oxygen in the body and carrying it to all systems, tissues, and organs. Iron's pretty darn important, right? That bold statement right there shows us how important iron is. 25% of premenopausal American women are deficient in iron. I think it might even be higher than that. Vitamin C increases iron absorption by 30%. Okay, chat box, raise your hand if there's something on this list that you didn't know, or bring yourself off mute if you have any questions about this screen. And if you don't, it's okay, we'll move on. Okay, awesome. We will move on. We got lots to cover. Okay, signs and symptoms of iron deficiency. Fatigue and tiredness. Kind of looks like Cinderella. I didn't even notice that. Shortness of breath. What if Cinderella's problem was that she was iron deficient? Interesting thought. Shortness of breath, depression, hair loss, restless leg syndrome, frequent headaches, increased sensitivity to cold, and brittle nails. Anybody have any of these?
I think I have all of these.
Okay. Oh no, we need iron.
Okay.
It's
Running
yeah,
out to find iron.
it's definitely not something to panic about because, you know, it might be because you're lacking in one other area, but I've got huge restless leg syndrome, but I don't know, it could be tied into other things, but I didn't realize that about iron.
Yeah.
Remember when here I am pulling my eyelids down and you can't see me, but Dr. Kingsbury had us pull our eyelids down and she chose me to look at. Apparently I am iron deficient because
That's
I was like
right.
super pale, right?
That's right.
So yeah, and then I'm like, oh gosh, restless leg syndrome. So I'm sorry, I'm just making some connections there.
Well, everybody,
And
I think if everybody were to go in the mirror right now and pull down their eyes, if you have, if underneath your eyes is like as white as a piece of paper, we're gonna need to get you some iron. I think with if that's our one takeaway from tonight, right? But it's nothing to freak out about because we can get you some iron and we're gonna get you the right kind of iron. Okay? Deal? Trisha, after we had that time with Dr. Kingsbury and you learned that, what kind of iron did you start on?
I've been on iron. I'm actually on oh my gosh. It's oh, I can't think of the name of it right now. Let me look. Actually, I have it right here in
Yeah,
my drawer.
I'm just curious what kind it is.
It's methyl combo and it's got iron in that, so it's more easily assimilated for someone like myself. I
Okay.
believe that's the one that's got it in there. I've been on it for a long time, but I think with the surgery and everything, my body is struggling.
Okay. Methyl combo, is that Nature Sunshine?
Yes.
Okay, so Nature Sunshine is the brand, you guys. Nature Sunshine Methyl Combo. In case you guys want to write that down, just so you know. Thank you, Trisha.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
next slide. Iron supplements. Okay, so here we go. Talking about what Trisha just shared with us, let's share how can you get iron from foods? So iron from foods is crucially important, even more than supplementing. But the issue is we can't always get all these things in every day, right? That's where supplements comes in. So my point is try to get all of the vitamins and minerals from food sources first. And then when we need to supplement, we can. Majority of Americans, majority of humans, I would say, don't get the required veggies and fruits they need to get all the supplements or the vitamins and minerals, which is why we have to supplement. So fruits, and I'm going to add the word organic. Choose organic when possible if your budget allows. Dark chocolate or cacao, broccoli, red meat, and if you're O type blood, red meat's going to be good for you. If you're A or B, you might not eat as much red meat. And we can talk about that another day. That would be like eating for your blood type. Legumes, leafy greens, grains, tofu, and pumpkin seeds, which pumpkin seeds are also really good for parasites. Iron supplements, chelated iron is more absorbable and it claws out heavy metals. Super supplemental by Nature Sunshine is recommended. Fair Phos, number 4, is a homeopathic that is an iron source. And then there's a supplement called IX iron. It's a plant formula, and that one's also by Nature Sunshine, and it's good for AB blood types. Okay, I see a question coming in the chat. There's our greens. That's right, girl. We're doing a challenge right now, and every single day for the next 30 days, we have to get in greens. So, which we should be doing anyways, but for those of us that it's not a habitual thing, it's so good to be reminded of that. So go green.
Allie, I may have misspoke. I may be, I'm on the IX as well, so that might be where that's coming from. Guys, I apologize if I misspeak. I am on so many supplements because of everything that I've been through, so I'm sorry if I misspeak, but I have been on the IX as well.
You don't need to be sorry one bit, girl. We're here to help each other in addition to learn from each other. So we just appreciate you sharing. No worries. Okay, hopefully this slide was helpful to you guys. Let's see, I want to make sure. Okay, before we move on to iodine, any questions about iron or anything anybody want to share about iron? Okay. I will say one last thing about iron. It's also a good idea to pump iron, right? To lift weights, because when we lift weights 2 to 3 times a week, we are encouraging our muscle mass. We have to keep that muscle mass, especially as we age. Weightlifting also revs up your metabolism and keeps your metabolism strong. So in addition to eating iron, we should be pumping iron. So there's my little fitness plug. Okay, iodine. Yay, Trisha. We're so glad you're here with us. We have a resident expert in iodine with us, so we're going to jump right in. All right, I like to start out with fun facts for you guys. So iodine is known as the metabolizer. What was iron, guys? What was the nickname? The frisky horse. You guys remember?
First.
The frisky horse. Okay. I was waiting for like a horse emoji. So iodine is the metabolizer. Iodine affects the control of calcium. When given an iodine supplement, chickens have harder shells. Emotions are mostly handled by the thyroid. Right here is your thyroid. During crisis, the iodine supply can become exhausted and the thyroid weakened. Iodine restores heat to the body. Cold hands and feet suggest low metabolism and poor circulation, symptoms of hypothyroidism. Seaweed contains all of the elements essential to man and is an excellent source of trace minerals, especially iodine. Another takeaway from this talk tonight, go get some seaweed, organic seaweed. Costco has organic seaweed. Kroger probably has it. If you like sushi, they've got the sushis wrapped in the seaweed. I loved this fun fact that seaweed contains all of the elements essential to man. Such a great thing to know, right? Even though like when we're swimming, we try to avoid it, but we can eat it. At the bottom, a healthy adult body contains 15 to 20 milligrams of iodine, 70 to 80% of which is stored in the thyroid gland. Next slide. A hypoglycemic person is usually deficient in iodine. Thyroid problems often follow prolonged blood sugar problems, and cataracts are calcium being out of solution due to a lack of iodine. Have you guys ever heard that in your life? That was the first time I ever heard that in school. Cataracts are calcium being out of solution due to a lack of iodine. So there's your connection. Calcium and iodine have a relationship, right? We need both. And if one's out of balance, the other's out of balance. And we're going to talk about calcium too. Iodine is water soluble, entering the lymph fluids and traveling to every cell in the body. It destroys and oxidizes harmful toxins. Metabolism is increased by iodine, and iodine aids phosphorus assimilation. There's another relationship, phosphorus and iodine. Also, I learned that I was iodine deficient in the past 3 months or so. And so I've been taking iodine drops under my tongue. And when I read that iodine is water soluble, it reminded me that I should be taking my iodine in a little glass of water instead of right under my tongue, or immediately chase it with water because it helps the body assimilate it more. So if you're going to start iodine drops, if you decide that's something that's right for your body, make sure you're mixing it with water and it'll become more bioavailable. Consumption of foods that contain goitrogens, substances that interfere with the uptake of iodine in the thyroid, can exacerbate iodine deficiency. Foods high in goitrogens include soy, cassava, and cruciferous vegetables like cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower. So why I put this in here is because what this is saying is that some foods can interfere with the uptake of iodine. So if you are severely iodine deficient, or you have hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, it might be good for you to look into maybe not eating soy, cassava, and things like cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower in excess. You know, the things like the cruciferous vegetables have good things about them that our bodies need, but just every person is different, right? The makeup of everybody's body. So I wanted to mention that. You can supplement liquid iodine if you're not getting enough from food sources like fish, dairy, eggs, fruit, and veggies. Iodine-rich foods to support your thyroid: shellfish, fish, prunes, lima beans, seaweed. There's our seaweed, dairy, and eggs. And I feel like when I was growing up, I grew up in the fat-free craze. So fat was bad, right? Which we know is not true. We know now, thank goodness, we need fat, and especially healthy fat, avocados, nut butter, and egg yolks. So egg yolks that have protein, cholesterol, fat, all these amazing things that our bodies need. Moving forward after the Zoom chat, I don't want anybody to think that an egg yolk is bad. We need an egg yolk. And an egg yolk, now we've learned, is iodine rich, and it's good for our thyroid. So yay to eggs. And then dairy is listed on here too. Just be cautious of your source of dairy. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm just going to mention it. Okay, before we move on to magnesium, what questions do you guys have about iodine?
Can I add to what you were saying?
Oh, yes. Please jump in.
Okay, so back to the uptake in terms of can you go back to the screen that you had up before,
Yes.
where you were talking about the things that can interfere with the uptake
Yeah.
of iodine? So getting more into that, there's something called halides. Halides, there's two forms, bromine and fluorine. Fluorine, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, that will interfere with the uptake of iodine. So back in the day, they actually did studies, one of them of which was in Michigan, the other one was Akron, Ohio. And they did studies of school children that were lacking, because lacking iodine can cause goiterism, right? You can get that large bump in your neck. I'm trying to shorten this up because I know you only have an hour here.
Oh, no, you're fine.
But they did this study because girls that are developing the breasts, when girls are developing, the breasts are another area that uptake a lot of iodine. So developing breasts will take away from that thyroid. So if you're low, the girls will show deficiency. Anyways, that's where they learned that they needed to start adding, or they decided to add iodine to salt. That's where the iodized salt came from. It still took another 100 years from there, from the United States, to pick up and start adding iodine to salt. So that helped with goiterism across the United States. But originally they had iodine in bread as they were making bakery products. But then they decided that that was not healthy, and they took it out and they replaced it. Now here I'm coming with the halides, the bromine in the breads. Well, here's the thing, and those of us that go to the school together, like Amy and Allie and myself, know that when you have a cell and it's got little receptors to catch the iodine, so picture it as like a catcher's mitt specifically for that iodine, okay? And it's supposed to catch that iodine, but then you get something that like bromine that comes in, that's in bread nowadays, and it can be an imposter and fit inside that mitt and beat out that iodine. So the body's not intaking that iodine, it's taking in that bromine instead. And that's how we start to become iodine deficient, is because our cell receptors are not intaking the correct stuff, and we become deficient in eating breads alone, right? And then our diets are deficient, our soils are deficient. Typically people that live over in Japan don't have these types of issues because their diets consist of fish and seaweeds. I'm hoping, I was trying to be quick, so I probably skipped over some of that, but bromine and fluorine are some of the higher causes of lack of iodine uptake, because they're imposters for our cells, and the body cannot eliminate that stuff out of the system until it's got a proper amount of iodine in it.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is eye-opening for one, but two, it makes me think, you know, the good intentions of the food industry, if there ever were good intentions of the food industry, like iodized salt and putting iodine in bread, right? To me, that seems like good intentions. We're trying to get you the iodine you need, right? But it's not the right kind of iodine. And it's messing with the cell receptors are reaching out to get it, and instead they're getting other things that are causing us to be deficient in iodine, kind of like trying to dumb down like the concept of how that happens. Our body wants the organic version of the mineral. Our body wants the organic version. So if the inorganic version is made present, our body's still going to grab it because it goes, oh, iodine, oh, fluorine, oh, you know, whatever it is, the chemical, whatever mineral our body wants, it's it can be faked out. It can be, I mean, that's not the right word, but it can be faked out. Yeah, it can be faked out by the not organic kind, right? Did I say that right, Trisha?
Yes, and I think they should understand what you're trying to say. Absolutely. Like it
Yeah.
just, yeah, I'm lacking of the right words too, but yeah, it's like these other minerals or whatever that are coming in are really like imposters, and
Imposters,
they
right.
because they're so close on the oh, what's the scale, Ellie? Their number on the chart here. What's the chart called?
Periodic table of elements.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So bromine and iodine are very, very close. They're only a row away from each other on the periodic chart.
Right.
Therefore,
Back to
that's how it's,
chemistry.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why it's able to trick the receptors of the cell. Oh,
Yeah.
take me, right? Because it's so close.
Then it clogs the receptors too.
Then it clogs the receptors.
Yes. And it clogs, it basically congests your body. It gets this great big traffic jam, and your body's like, no, I need iodine. And the bromine's like, I don't know if any of you have ever seen oh, that movie. There's a movie about cells. Anyways, I'm sorry, I digress.
It's okay. No, it's okay. It's such an important point to bring up. And one of the gals just messaged me and said it was catfished. Our cells and our cells are being catfished by these, you know, these imposters. So that's a great word to think of it as. One more thing I want to say about this too. We learned this in school, and I think it's worth mentioning. And I hope I say it correctly, so you guys can fact check me. But Mountain Dew, they put bromide in Mountain Dew. Okay. So for those of you that drink Mountain Dew or have family members that drink Mountain Dew, all of the halogens on the periodic table of elements, okay, all the halogens interact like each other in our body, right? So they all are kind of like the body recognizes them as the same. So if you're taking in Mountain Dew that has bromide in it, your body's going to go, oh, this is a good thing, right? And then that means whenever any other halogens come into the body's going to go, oh, we don't need those. We have enough of those because you're taking it in from Mountain Dew. So interesting fact, like one reason, I mean, sugar's another reason we should give up Mountain Dew, but it's got like those imposters. It's got imposters in it. So our body can't get the good stuff in. Does that make sense?
And it's what makes it smoother. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they do it.
Oh, so they put it in Mountain Dew to make it smoother?
Yes, and there's a few other too. It's Pepsi. There's a big fight. If you guys get onto YouTube, you'll find some very informational videos on that. But yeah, no, it's in a few others and some generic brands of things too. But I think it makes it smoother, so that's why they add it in.
Ah, okay, sneaky. Okay, so another takeaway: don't drink pop. We already knew that, right? Okay, awesome. See, we could do a whole hour just on iodine. Thank you very much for your input, Trisha. So appreciate it, and Amy. And if you guys have any questions at the end, we can still come back to iodine. So let's move on to magnesium. Magnesium, Mg, the real Mg on the periodic table. Magnesium is the relaxer. Although it is the 8th most abundant element in the universe and the seventh most abundant element in the Earth's crust. Magnesium is never found free in nature. I thought that was a fun fact. The soothing properties of magnesium include restful sleep, and the nerves are cooled by its alkaline reactions. This is not written on here, but I want you to know if you have severe PMS, if you are somebody that has severe PMS, you need magnesium. Okay? Calms the nerves, better sleep, hands raised, me too, girl, all the magnesium. Like attracts like. The better mineral balance we have, the easier it is to attract more of the same. Relax more to attract magnesium. Easier said than done, right, mamas? Chiropractic adjustments that don't hold might mean a magnesium deficiency. So if you always go to the chiropractor and you're like, man, I felt so good in my adjustment yesterday, but then the next day you're not holding the adjustment, you might need magnesium. Magnesium absorption. So magnesium is widely available in foods, but little of it is absorbed because of imbalances in the body, alcohol, environmental toxins. It is not what we eat that counts, but what we digest and assimilate. I want you to take that in for a second. It is not what we eat that counts, but it is what we digest and assimilate. We can be taking in all the vitamins, all the nutrients, all the fruits, all the veggies. But if we have an imbalance in our body and we don't have proper gut health, we're not going to assimilate. So everything is connected. We have to be mindful of all of these things. To assist absorption, avoid calcium-rich foods 2 hours before and after eating magnesium. So these are kind of just like little tricks to better absorb magnesium. Avoid high-dose zinc when you're taking your magnesium or eating magnesium foods. Add vitamin D. Vitamin D helps with absorption of magnesium, and eat raw veggies instead of cooked. So kind of just some fun little tricks. I don't want this to stress you out that you have to remember this. Let me just make that side note. It's better for you to take in magnesium and be eating magnesium rich foods than to have to remember all these rules. If you are just somebody that really suffers from a deficiency in magnesium, I just wanted to make you aware. Which magnesium supplement is right for you? Well, magnesium has lots of different substrates. So you've got citrate, glycinate, threonate, malate, taurate, chloride, sulfate, and oxide. I read when I was doing my research and putting this presentation together, I read that magnesium glycinate is one of the most bioavailable types of magnesium. So if you guys want to jot that down, magnesium glycinate for anxiety is a great bioavailable source. And you can do your research too, but if you suffer from constipation, magnesium citrate might be better for you. Migraines, magnesium threonate. Blood sugar, taurate may be better. Sore muscles. Have you guys ever taken an Epsom salt bath? Epsom salt bath is good for sore muscles, and that's magnesium sulfate, I believe. Am I saying that right? I think it is. And then magnesium oxide. Oh, good. Somebody's going to confirm for me. Yes. Thank you, girl. See, you guys are helping. We're all doing this together. So hopefully this slide helps you guys too when you're going about trying to figure out what kind of magnesium to take. I have a student at my school. She is a high schooler, and I love that she came to me and she said, Mrs. Long, can you help me? I have serious, severe PMS, and I need your help figuring out natural remedies for PMS. And so she and I sat down and we talked about a whole bunch of different things that she could do. And she asked me to send her a recommendation for what kind of magnesium to take. And I'm doing my research, and, we shouldn't take calcium with magnesium. We should take calcium, in the morning and then magnesium at night, and like all these rules. And I'm like going down the rabbit hole of what I should recommend to her. Nature's Sunshine makes some good magnesium supplements. But when I was doing my research, I found this. And what I loved so much about this supplement, I don't actually take it myself and I've never ordered it, but I found it and I really liked the makeup of it. It's a highly absorbable magnesium glycinate, which was for anxiety and good for PMS. And it has ashwagandha, which is an adaptogen. So if you guys have never heard of ashwagandha, it's an adaptogen, which means it's calming to the nervous system. So you get like a double dip of this calming effect in the body. And I'd have to do a little more research on New Chapter as a brand. Like, I don't know. They looked to be reputable. They had a lot of reviews, but I can't honestly say from a transparency standpoint that I know a lot about New Chapter. But if you want to look into the supplement, I wanted to recommend this because it just looked like a really great option. I guess I'll use that word. And then on their website, they had this fun little graphic that said, here's what 325 milligrams of magnesium looks like. You can eat 13 cups of broccoli, or you can take 1 tablet of magnesium, which fits better into your day. And I think that's a good point. You know, we have good intentions about eating all of our fruits and veggies, but often we have to supplement. So,
Hey, Allie,
yeah, before we move on, I wanted to open it. Yes.
I'm sorry, my dog is barking.
It's okay.
So another Magnus, leave it. Another brand, I'm on a magnesium buffered chelate. It's from, okay, squirt bottle, dude. Designs for Health. But it's a magnesium buffered chelate, and it's, if I'm chelated, it says magnesium biglycinate.
Okay.
Anyways, that's an easier assimilated magnesium as well.
Okay. Magnesium, is it on this list?
Let me see.
Well, it says
the che-
biglycinate. Glycinate's on here.
Yeah, so it's BIS and then the glycinate. So
Yeah,
yes.
that's the same one. So bisglycinate. I'm assuming bi means 2. So I don't know if that means it's like a split glycinate or what that means.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it, but I do know,
Yeah.
like, when I've talked to my naturopath about it, that it's just like it's easier assimilated
Yeah.
for the body. So
Yeah.
just another
What
option.
brand was it?
Good. Yeah.
What brand was that, Trisha?
Designs for Health.
Oh, okay.
Can you put that in the chat box, Trish?
I will. I was trying to
Please.
figure out if I could do a picture, but yeah, I'll type it in.
Thank you, sister.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Perfect. And I know we're already at the 1 hour mark. I have 9 slides left to go. So if you guys have to jump off, I'll send you the recording, but if you're able to stay, that would be awesome too. And we'll try to breeze through the rest, okay? We're going to dive right into calcium. And calcium's the knitter. Calcium is found in water, ash of plants, and all soils. The role of calcium in the body is similar to that of soil. It aids digestion, provides nutrition, neutralizes, promotes growth, aids decomposition, and helps to purify and alkalize. Sounds pretty important, right? Adults need 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams of calcium daily. This can be supplied by a quart of raw milk, not regular milk. Regular milk cannot be assimilated by the body. Some of you might be freaking out right now. Don't freak out. It's okay. We know what we know until we learn what we learn. Raw milk is not legal in the US because it's not pasteurized, but raw milk is going to give you that supply of calcium that you need. We can talk more about that offline. Need more calcium? Greens, greens, greens. Greens, greens, greens. Get your calcium from your greens, greens, greens. So for my Sunshine Squad, I'm giving you all high fives because we are on like day 11 of getting in our greens. Without calcium, the body would be a jellyfish. I put the cutest little jellyfish in here. He's so cute. Calcium and iron are the 2 most important elements for pregnancy. Good to know. And here is a not so fun fact, but good for you to know. A lifetime of antacids is detrimental to the body and oftentimes means we can no longer assimilate calcium. Additionally, aluminum from antacids is not good for the brain. We can get a buildup in the brain. So if you're somebody that you know or somebody that you know or love is always popping antacids, that is a inorganic form of calcium. It's not the right kind of calcium. We don't want it. Stop it. Let's find other ways to address that acid in your body. Deal? Offline. What does that mean, Z?
I was laughing
mean-
when you said we can talk about the milk offline.
Oh. Oh, I was like, what does
That's
that mean?
that's all. That's all.
Oh, I got you, girl. I got
Made me
you.
chuckle.
Thank you, sister. Okay.
Oh, I
Um,
thought it meant she left the chat.
she's like, peace out.
Well, because yeah, we're talking about raw milk. We can't. She's right. We're recording. We're online, but I can't wait for that discussion. I'll be there for that one, hopefully.
Awesome. All right. Perfect.
Mhm.
Okay. Next slide.
Join the cow shares. You got to join the cow shares.
Ooh, we need a cow share.
Yeah, you can get in one. There's quite a few around here.
Amy, I knew you
Yeah.
would know about the cow share.
Oh, I was in a cow share years ago when my kids went to school.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, Amy, we need details
Yep,
later
I'll get them.
offline.
I'll get them.
Everybody on this Zoom, you just hang with us and you're going to learn all the things. We're going to have our own little compound with cows and chickens and minerals and plants and, and all the things.
Everything.
And you're all invited, okay? Kirsten,
Always, yeah.
Susan, Rachel, Marilyn. Who else do we have on here? Katie. Wait, who is that? Who is the iPhone? Why can't I see you, sister? Oh, it's Julie. Hi, Julie. Hi, sister. Okay. All right. So moving on. Sugar is the number one leacher that's supposed to say of. Sorry for the typo. Sugar is the number one leacher of calcium in the body. And the main villain, if there was a villain in this Disney movie, it would be sugar in throwing off the endocrine system. Do you want to avoid osteoporosis? Yes. Do you want to avoid osteoporosis? Say no to sugar. Also, fun fact, not so fun fact, osteoporosis is a lifetime of dehydration. A lifetime of dehydration. Chug your water. 1 ounce, half an ounce for every pound of body weight. So if you weigh 150 pounds, drink 75 ounces of water every day. High five to my Sunshine Squad because we're getting in the water. So menstrual blood contains 40 times the calcium compared to regular blood.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Oh,
before you
yeah,
move
yeah.
on?
Please, Dee, please.
So for osteoporosis, we discussed in class, I remember that changing your salt from the iodized salt to, the proper salt, that will help.
Yep.
That'll help your body retain the proper water. And of course, when you change your water, that helps you not be hydrated. Because the average water that we drink now is not proper, does not have what we need in it. And so I was given that suggestion to start doing like a pinch of salt in the water.
Mhm.
My aunt. So yeah, I just want to throw that out there. That's very easy. If we could start implementing that. That's very easy.
And it's Redmond sea salt.
Yes.
So what Z is talking about, you guys, after this chat, you all have to make us a promise. No more table salt. Throw it out. No one on this Zoom is allowed to use table salt anymore. Redmond sea salt, REDMOND, Redmond sea salt. That's what you're going to start flavoring all your food with. You can sprinkle a little bit in your water to remineralize, and your body will be able to start to have a bioavailable form of salt. And then you'll stay more hydrated too, like Z is saying. And then the other thing is filtered water. Tap water has things like fluoride and lead and things we don't want in our body. So you guys are going to get all your learning on. I ordered some before the challenge. Yay, Katie. Awesome. Yep. Redmond sea salt. Perfect. 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 Good. Good, good, good. And the whole point too is, you guys, you can feed someone a fish, or you can teach them to fish. Okay. So you are all fishermen now. You're all fishermen. Everyone on this Zoom is going to take this information and go teach your people. And then they're going to teach their people because we're all fishermen now with this information. We don't want to keep it to ourselves. We want to share it because we want all of our people to be healthy, right?
Right.
Yeah, right. So thanks for sharing. Okay. Any other thoughts on that before we keep chugging
I
along?
saw somebody ask about spring water. And so I think
Yeah.
it's important to know also the plastic, drinking out of plastic bottles is, the plastic can leachate into the water, especially with the heat in the summer.
Yeah.
So it's good to do, your own water filter and then bring, either stainless steel or glass bottles.
Yeah. BPAs and plastics can leach in. Yeah. Good point.
Mhm.
What about Celtic sea salt? Okay, so Himalayan sea salt and Celtic sea salt are from the earth, right? Like it's from a more natural source, which is where you want your salt. You want your salt to come as naturally as possible from the earth. So that's better than the salt that has the girl with the umbrella. You know, the what's the brand?
Morton.
Yeah, that's what we're throwing away. So Celtic sea salt is better. Honestly, I don't know like to tell you how much better it is versus like Redmond, if it's like a comparable.
Well, I think the Celtic sea salt comes from ocean water, recent, and the Redmonds and the Himalayan is ancient seabeds. So that was prior to pollution and all that.
Good point.
Yep. Yep.
Point.
And then, and the Redmonds is good because it comes from here. It's not imported because a lot of times with the imports now we're getting radiation, So, and I'm not sure every reason that Dr. Baker recommends Redmonds, and she's been recommending that, they've been having good results for quite a while, the doctors over at our school.
The mineral list is ridiculous when you're looking at Redmonds in terms of, and it's the process for gathering it. Words are escaping me. Are for processing are very, very limited. So, we all know the least amount of processing, the better, and the list of minerals in Redmond salt is insane.
Yeah, right.
Even more reason. That's awesome, girls. Thank you for sharing that.
And everybody likes the flavor too. I've been reading, when I look it up, people are saying they like the flavor. I think I like it. I'm on it now.
Wait, Trisha, do you mean it's insane in a good way? The minerals in the red.
Yes,
ones?
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Just
I'm very sarcastic. So thank
In a
you
good
for
way.
asking. Yeah, I am. Well, sometimes, but anyway, yes, no,
Okay.
it's just when I say insane, I mean like it's just crazy looking at the label. Like when you guys start looking at labels and you look at iodized salt, there's like nothing there, right? And you're putting nothing but garbage into your body. But then when you look at a Redmond salt, you'll see a list of all of these minerals that your body needs. And I mean, your body will tell you just by holding it to you, your body's like, oh, yes, yes. Like it's just crazy how good it is for you.
Right. There are the perfect ratios of nature too, the way nature puts them together. So
True. Good
yeah.
point. Very good point.
The way God intended.
Right.
Yeah.
There
Awesome.
she goes.
And this is what happens when you put a bunch of naturopaths in one Zoom.
I love it. I love
Can't
it.
get through the slideshow.
I know.
I
Well,
know, right?
I said we needed 16 hours together. Okay, perfect. Well, I love the dialogue, so keep it coming. Calcium's one of the champion elements for growing children. Another one with the if anyone has kids with growing pains or like leg cramps at night, calcium's another one to look at. Calcium and iron are the two most important elements for pregnancy. I think we already said that. Those who consume excessive amounts of refined carbs will manifest a calcium deficiency. We know we shouldn't be eating processed refined foods, but this is just another reason to stop. You may also exude an odor resembling vinegar. That's your body's way of saying that you need calcium. So if you know anybody that has a vinegary taste, smell to them, that could be why. Plant-based calcium. I wanted to share this because oftentimes we think calcium has to come from dairy or protein has to come from meat. And we don't have to think that way. We can start to look at our plant friends for the things we need. So you can see here some calcium sources, edamame, chickpeas, chia seeds. What are some other high ones? Oranges even. Tahini, which tahini's in a lot of Middle Eastern foods. Spinach. So there's some good ones on this list. Alkaline minerals, you can see calcium is in spinach, broccoli, celery, avocados, kale. Magnesium foods, we talked about magnesium already. Almonds, okra, flax seeds, dill. You can see cacao on there. There's some iron foods, which we already talked about. We did not get to potassium tonight, but you can see some potassium sources on there. Coconut water, avocados, kiwi, Brussels sprouts, figs, and then manganese. Manganese was one we didn't go into depth on tonight, but I mentioned that it's worth looking into. Cinnamon, garlic, thyme, chard, turmeric, and collard greens are great sources of manganese. So try to get those power foods in as often as possible. Signs of mineral deficiencies. Okay, so if you don't have a blood test and you don't have a hair analysis and you don't have muscle testing, but you have these symptoms, you might be deficient in one of these. So zinc, weak immunity, allergies, thinning hair, acne or rashes. Calcium, brittle nails, dry skin, high blood pressure. You know, pointing this out too, because people with high blood pressure, in allopathic medicine, in the Western side of medicine, we have high blood pressure and we go to the doctor, and what happens? More than likely, they put us on a pill, right? But what if it's just a calcium deficiency? What if we could just start eating more calcium and it would adjust our blood pressure? Wouldn't that be awesome? What if we could start doing yoga and taking ashwagandha as an adaptogen to lower our stress? Would that help? You know what I mean? Like, we have to start thinking about all of these natural things before we take the pill, right? Amen. Magnesium, infertility, headaches, depression, anxiety. Selenium, slow metabolism, slow wound healing, memory problems, again with the hair loss, low immune system. Iodine, fatigue, lethargy, brain fog, memory problems, thinning hair. And then potassium, abdominal bloating, cramps, heart palpitations, ringing in the ears, dizzy or constipated. So you guys are all going to get this quiz. And this is the quiz that I mentioned to you. And it's a mineral assessment. And it's going to ask you things like lack of strength, digestive problems, anemia, low sex drive. And you're going to check these boxes. And then when you get to the end of it, you're going to place a number in each category. And it will be able to determine from taking this little quiz what you might be deficient in, what minerals. So you're going to receive this. And you can do it on your own time. And then you can call me or text me or email me, and we can talk about your results. Minerals for organs, you're also going to receive this sheet in your inbox after today's chat. And so it talks about what minerals do you need for the brain? What minerals do you need for the eyes? What minerals do you need for your liver? What minerals do you need for your adrenals? So you're going to get this in your inbox. And then the last slide is open mic Q&A. So we didn't talk about a lot of minerals in depth. You know, we really only dove deep into 4 or 5. But we could have a part 2. We could do a part 2 on minerals. And then I wanted to have open mic. So if there's certain minerals you wanted to address tonight, I'm ready to go. So if there's like a mineral you have questions about, or if you've been told in your lifetime you're deficient in a certain mineral, now is the time. Let's bring it up. What you guys got?
I'm just gonna add a comment about what you said about just like taking medicine and stuff. I had gone to see like just a regular doctor a few years ago, and my cholesterol was high, and all it was like a phone call from them and a voicemail saying, "Hi, this medication is waiting for you at the pharmacy." And it was like not even a conversation, not a call, not an explanation. And you just feel so like, what the heck? Like, to your point, can we look into like lowering stress or doing something like that? So it was really discouraging. So this is really, really helpful, all of this information. I didn't take the medication, by the way, so here I am. But
Good job. Good job. And you're so right. And thank you for being vulnerable enough to share that, because that's just the world we live in. That is what comes normally. That is what comes to us in the medical realm, right? And we have to be smart enough. We have to be wise enough. We have to be our own advocates to say, this doesn't feel right. It shouldn't just be a pill. Why does my body produce excess cholesterol? I wonder why this is happening. And from a naturopath perspective, what we have learned is that cholesterol is a protection mechanism in the brain. Our brain needs fat to protect the cerebral cortex, just to protect all the things in our brain. And our body needs cholesterol. It's almost like a protective coating. So you kind of have to look at, well, what's going on in the body? Is there something inflamed? Is there something out of imbalance? Is there something happening in my body that's causing that cholesterol to go up? And when we start to look at it from a holistic perspective and not just take a pill, we can address the root cause of illness, right? And so I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for doing that. And we need to be the fishermen that go out and tell more people about that, because cholesterol is not the bad guy. The bad
Well,
guy.
one thing, the chlorine products like paper towel and toilet paper and those kind of paper products that we're touching all the time contain high chlorine, which can affect the inside of our the walls of our arteries and veins. And then it'll fray them a little, and then cholesterol goes and tries to smooth it out so the blood can move through there. And so even the myrrh, Kali myrrh or whatever, nat myrrh, those cell salts, can pull the small amounts of good chlorine can pull out the negative chlorine, because not all minerals are the same, right?
That is such a great point. And we didn't cover chlorine. Chlorine is known as the cleanser, you guys. I've got my book here. So Amy mentioned chlorine as being instrumental with cholesterol. So like if this comes up for you, if you're doing your mineral quiz and it comes up that you might be deficient in chlorine, that's what I mean, reach out to me, because we can figure out what you might be able to take to supplement. I have a little jar of green chlorophyll in my fridge that I put a couple drops in my water because it's bioavailable chlorine, the good kind. And that might be something that's good for you if you have high cholesterol. Would you agree, Amy?
Oh, definitely. I would muscle test it for sure.
Okay.
Allie, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So when I've done that mineral assessment, when I did that with some of my clients, I don't know if you ran into where some of them, the numbers are matching, whether they're deficient and they're excess. Have you ran into that?
Not yet.
Okay, so when and if you do, what I have learned is that means that they're not assimilating it properly.
Okay.
So you'll get some that, like, let's say, well, calcium's the first one to be knocked off balance. So let's say they're, let's see, let's go to something else. I don't know. I'm not looking at it, so I'm having a hard time pulling something off from there. So give me one, Allie, please.
Okay. So let's say you're deficient in, well, it's calcium deficiency or carbon excess.
Okay, so let's say you have a carbon, or you match a carbon deficiency and carbon excess. Let's say your numbers are 4 for each of those. That means you're not assimilating it properly.
Oh, that's good to know.
I reached out to some other naturopaths because I had I had a young one, I had a mom and a young one, and they were so similar, but the young one went from highly functioning in school, playing sports, to special education, needing assistance for everything, and her mineral scores were through the roof, like they all were just tied. And I'm like, wow, and it all stems back to gut health. If your gut is not healthy, you're not going to intake minerals as you should. So she wasn't assimilating, and then mom, pooh, the apple didn't fall. you know so just a thought, like that's what I learned. And of course I want to
Well,
share that. I
also,
didn't know if you knew.
Tanisha said with me, I had really low chlorine, and she said I could have high, like whatever you have, like sodium. I can't even think, bioavailable chlorine and not bioavailable chlorine. Like if you took bleach and put it in your hand, that's bad chlorine, but then there's some chlorine that's good for you. So if you have high in the bad chlorine, it can block your assimilation of the good chlorine. Like you could be high and you're still deficient.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So but that's just a good starting point, right?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
starting point. Exactly. Yeah, synthetic chlorine is poisonous. Natural chlorine is an amazing cleanser in the body.
Yeah.
Chlorine, the good kind of chlorine, guys, causes HDL to turn into LDL. So HDL to turn into LDL.
Cholesterol.
And if you're
right.
if you're an A blood type, I think it's A blood type, you're going to be lower in HCl anyway.
Yeah.
So that impacts it as well in
Okay.
terms of I'm sorry, I'm going to start going off on other stuff here. This
I
is what we
know.
get.
Well, and girls,
Well, that's
when you
interesting.
when you do the quiz, here's what I want you to know, okay? So that you guys don't feel too overwhelmed. When you do the quiz, what I have in my hands is if you have an excess of a mineral, what we should do. If you have a deficiency of a mineral, what we should do. So we're just going to go through, like, don't get overwhelmed, just take it one step at a time. And we'll start. It's just a tool, right? It's just a tool. That's all it is. I had another question come in, and I'm going to ask everybody's input on this. Post-menopausal osteopenia diagnosis, taking Yarrow brand bone up and lifting weights. Does that sound right? Post-menopausal osteopenia diagnosis, taking Yarrow brand bone up and lifting weights. Do we have any post-menopausal people on here?
Yep.
Help us.
Well, I don't know what osteopenia is. That
Osteopenia.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
That's
So I
like
have to look.
that's right before osteoporosis. I got that
Oh.
diagnosis.
Okay. Okay, so we got to make sure to hydrate as well. Because like she said, osteoporosis is a lifetime of dehydration. And then also your minerals. Make sure you have your minerals, take a mineral supplement. As
Do you
well.
know your
And
blood type?
Oh, A negative.
You're an A? Okay. So how do you exercise?
Oh, good
I
point.
lift weights usually like 3 times a week, and then I do a lot of walking, running, biking.
Okay. I just because A's do not work out vigorously. So just like it's good to lift weights, but just be careful that you don't exercise like an O. O's need to exercise like they're warriors, man. They're just woohoo.
Like aerobics, yeah, like full on aerobics, yeah.
Right. So yeah, A's need a little bit more gentler forms of exercise, and you can lift
Stretching.
weights. Just don't. Yes. Just don't go crazy with it.
Yeah, walking
Oh,
is
okay.
great, but running might be, might be hard because you get high levels of stress, and that puts cortisol and can affect your adrenals. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Julie, what is Yarrow brand bone up?
It's like a calcium and K2, and it's got a bunch of it's a supplement, but it's got a bunch of, that's the brand, Yarrow.
Okay.
I like Yarrow. I don't know about that. I was reading, and I'm not sure on this, you guys, see what you think, but I was reading in my book, I think it was, from school that you want to take 2 times the amount of magnesium than you take calcium because the way of our body assimilates it.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, calcium can also build up. So it matters what kind of calcium. They said coral calcium, or you can take like valerian root to help you sleep. It has high calcium. There's other supplements of calcium that are good, but you don't want to take just any calcium carbonate is no. I know that for sure because your body can't assimilate it and it can build up in your tissue.
I just got the Nature Sunshine Coral Calcium. I ordered that one.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, coral calcium.
Coral calcium's a good one. And then Julie too, with osteopenia being a step right below osteoporosis, you're going to want to take into account too that osteoporosis is a lifetime of hydration. So are you drinking a lot of water every day?
Probably not as much as I should be. So yeah, I need to fix that.
I would up your
Right.
water, sister. I would up your water for sure.
And coffee, keep down to at least maximum 1 cup. And make
Okay.
sure you drink 16 ounces of water, preferably with a lemon in the morning before your coffee, if you drink coffee. Because if you just drink coffee in the morning after a restful, you know, after all night without drinking, you can really set in that dehydration.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. We're here to help you, sister.
Okay, so I have this bone up here and I'm going to see what's in it. Okay, D3, K2, calcium. And that's all it says here. Oh, but it doesn't say what form of calcium. Oh, wait. Yeah. Well, maybe I don't have it very good because it doesn't say the form. We'd need to know, for us to comment on it, we'd need to know what kind of calcium it was. Like she had with the magnesium citrate, you know, and all that. So it just says calcium. So I'm not sure, but Jarrow is usually a very good brand. Oh, here it is. Calcium hydroapatite. I don't know that. Magnesium citrate. Oh, potassium citrate. Boron. Boron is outstanding.
Take boron if you're a moron. Isn't that how it goes?
Or else you're a moron. Yeah.
I go to the stinking Adam Sandler movies because he's boron schmoron when he's in class.
Oh, I love it. Okay, let's see. Osteoporosis, 368. And if anybody needs to go, you guys can get off. We're just diving in. But thank you guys for being here. I know we already lost a couple people, but this has been such a great conversation.
Yeah. I do have to go too. I got to get a couple things done, but I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
Okay, listen to this really quick. Arthritis is characterized by faulty calcium metabolism and poor glandular secretion. Arthritis didn't even come up today, but I know a lot of us suffer from that. Osteoporosis.
Well, that's basically kind of arthritis, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a form of inflammation, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need a whole nother Zoom, ladies.
Well, I don't claim anything like that, but I got some, you know, inflammation hardening that I'm letting go of. It's from a lifetime of dehydration. So I'm on my hydration.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to email you guys after we all hang up with the documents. And then if you have any questions, follow-up questions, just let us know. And Amy, your mineral chat Sunday, right?
Sunday. Yep.
Okay.
Sunday. I'll put it on the link at school.
if you want to share it, I'll share it with all these ladies too, in case they want round 2.
Okay, well, I don't have it up yet, so, but I
Yeah, that's
will,
fine.
if you want to do it after I share it, sure, great.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, have a great rest of your night, guys.
Okay, thanks, Ally,
All
great job.
Thank
Excellent.
you. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye,
Thank you
Lisa.
so much. This
Thank
was
you.
amazing. I really appreciate it. I learned a
Good.
lot.
You're so
Mm.
welcome. I'm so glad.